Today I'm sharing with you 12 vintage Halloween DIYs. Keep watching. I'm Brandy and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome back. Keep in mind this is a compilation video so you can understand what you're watching today. A cat boo shelf sitter. Okay, I'm going to have some jet black paint, some orange paint, some red paint. This cat that came from the thrift store, I have no idea if it's old or not. This also came from the thrift store. And then I got some crafting thick cardboard paper stuff. Foam board, if you will. I don't like the foam board. I'm going to tell you that I did it because I had already started and I didn't have another cat. But I do not recommend foam board for this project. Go ahead and just use regular poster board. All you really need is something that will give this cutout some strength and structure because he will be standing up in this project. And yeah, you don't want to do this, but you can see how I do it because you can use the same technique. So I put Mod Podge down first, put the cat down, and put more Mod Podge on. We're going to use a base also. Forgot to show it to you, so there it was. Those signs come from the Dollar Tree and they're really good to use for projects. I'm going to mix my own paint here by adding some orange and some red together and then a little bit of chalk paint. I am trying to get the orangey red that is around the outside of the cat. He's trimmed in that color, so I was trying my best to match that color, and I think I came pretty darn close, if I must say so myself. So I'm going to take one pumpkin and the bee and paint the front this orange color. I'm going to go all the way over, and I gave them 2 coats each. I had some little clumps. You just see me digging them out with the paintbrush. Some of my paint's getting old. But that's all you have to do if that happens. Just brush it out, wipe it off, keep on moving. No excuses to stop crafting, people. We just keep going. We just power through it. Okay, so we're going to do the front of the B also. And I'm going to get on the inside of the letter B, but not the outside. And I'm also not going on the outside of the pumpkin with the orange. So the pumpkin that we didn't paint the front of, we're going to paint that outside orange. This will make sense to you soon. This looks like something that came from either Michael's or Hobby Lobby or maybe Joann's. So you might can find them there or something similar anyway. So you can do it the same way. All you want really is the word boo. And I'm going to go all the way around the edges with that. Then the first 2 that we painted, I'm going to take the black and very carefully go around the outside. I'm using a smaller brush here because I don't want the black to overlap onto my orange, so I'm just placing the brush down and kind of dragging it. There are some ridges in this MDF or whatever this stuff is that I'm painting on, so I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing, obviously, but just take your time with it so you don't have any overlapping. Now on the one that has the painted sides but not painted on the front, I hope you're with me, y'all. You're going to use a piece of paper of your choice that's coordinating. This is very old paper that I've had forever. And you're going to turn your pumpkin over, trace it, and then cut it out. We're going to Mod Podge this down. I'm just going to use a brush here, a little foam brush, and just go all over the pumpkin to the edges with the Mod Podge. Not too much Mod Podge or you will get bubbles, the paper will get soaked and it'll make a mess. So just go sparingly, enough to stick it down but not have it swimming. And then I'm going to use my little squeegee here and just press it all down. Press it, press it, press it all the way down to the edges and push a little bit harder to the edges so that it really gets every bubble, every possible air bubble out of there. And then I'm going to take the brush and go back over it on the top to lock it in, and then we will let that dry. So the black paint that we used before, we're going to use it on here. Let it dry. In the meantime, I'm going to fight with the cat. So I'm using a crafting knife here and cutting it out. I'm going to cut the biggest pieces away from it first, all the bulky stuff. And then I will go back in and do all the fussy cutting. And I mean to tell you, I was fussing while I was cutting. This was a lot of work. But here she is in all of her glory. I'm going to use an emery board. And I'm going to just file down where you can see the foam that's hanging out and looking rough. File down as much as I can, carefully. And then I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to go over all of the white foam and board that is underneath. This is going to give it such a better edge and finish. It's just going to look so much better. You can see it's already starting to look better. I'm trying not to overlap it onto my red trim there, or my orangey red trim, but you see that color. That's the color that I was trying to imitate. It looks pretty close to the bee over there, I think. And be sure you protect your surfaces. So now we're going to go back to this one and work on it. I'm going to use my emery board and I'm going to file off my edges. This is going to make it nice and smooth, and it is going to be perfect. You can use a sanding block, sanding paper, a finger sander, whatever you have for this. You see how bright that is? We're going to darken that up in just a minute. So I'm going to take some antiquing wax on a baby wipe, and we're going to go over those orange, the pumpkin and the letter, all around the edges with this. This is going to give it kind of that blurred out look, that old look. You know, the point of the antiquing wax is to give it an antique look, so it's going to age it, and that's what I like and what I want for this vintage project, because I think it looks very much like what's going on with the cat. I'm going to go around the bee and do the same thing, go all around my edges, and also be sure to get like on the inside of the letter, any place that it would be needing some extra shadow and interest. And they look so much better. And then I'm going to bring down that white color by just using that same wipe that I've already been using and just kind of go over it, and you can see it automatically darkens it up a little bit, and I like that. And then the same technique we're going to use on the edge of this one. Where we sheared it off, we're going to go over it and then go up as high as you would like on your projects. Keep on layering as much as you like. I always like to start off with the least amount, and then I begin to, you know, get it a little bit darker, add some little spots and such, so that I don't go overboard first off. Looks good. Shout out, y'all. 18,000 subscriber giveaway right now. It's time to treat you. Read the instructions and be sure that you comment Black Cat in the comments for a chance to win a box of goodies. Okay, you can see here how I've glued the kitty down. I put a block behind his foot, colored it black, and glued it to the base. I took the bee and the two pumpkins and glued them down toward the back of this black base. And then up here on the top, you can see that I glued the kitty's hand right there on the bee. I'm going to flip it over here and show you. This is how it looks from the back. He's glued in place here. You can see where the letters are glued right along the back side here. Just to give you an idea of the spacing. And then his little paw is glued up here from the back. You can't even see it from the front, can you? Now, to embellish this little kitty cat, he's got 3 little dots on him that look like where he might be needing hinges. Kind of like the little hinges you see in the little cutouts that you can move their arms up and down. Has those little round things on them. So I decided to use these bronze little push pins or upholstery pins. Cut them off. Cut the little pokey part off. And then I'm going to use them over those shoulder and the leg. But this little spot on the back didn't make sense to me. So I'm just using a dark furniture repair marker to kind of add to that and pat it, kind of blend it in so it's not as noticeable. Then I'm going to use my Fix-All adhesive so I don't burn my fingers off trying to use the glue gun. I'm going to put a dot down And then I'm going to lay it on the top, press it down just a tad. And then up here on the shoulder, I'll do the same thing. I'm just kind of swirling off the tip of it so I don't get a string of it across my project. Then let it dry, and this is how it is going to look. Oh, she's a beaut. She's a beaut, Clark. She's a beaut. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Here's our boo sign, which I would also love for you to share. I think it's pretty unique. If you've enjoyed the content in this video, I would love a thumbs up. It means we are going to start off with a couple of things. I've got some tulle that's black. I have some different types of trims in orange. You can see these were just Easter from Dollar Tree. I've got a variety of picks from Dollar Tree. These are like, I guess, cupcake picks. I have some thin tinsel, some ruffly lace trim, a little bit of plastic insects from Dollar Tree. I've got some floral pins, a foam, and this is just the cone, and then I have some fabric. So this cone is going to be about 9 inches long. You can use whatever size you want, and you will cut your beautiful fabric, which mine I got at the thrift store. You will cut that fabric to whatever size you need. Alright, so to determine my sizing, I am going to take that cone, start in the corner of my fabric, and kind of roll this over, making sure that it will go over the end of the cone because that biggest part of the cone is going to be the top. I'm going to cut this off now that I know how much I'm going to need and save the rest of this beautiful fabric for some more projects. Now I'm going to start by putting the pretty side of the fabric down on the table, taking my floral pins. I'm going to twist a little bit, and then I'll use those pins to help me hold everything tightly and in place. I don't want any wrinkles. I want this to be very smooth and elegant. So just keep twisting that cone, and it will come to a point on the end, and it will look like this. You're going to have some excess. I got my pattern lined up the way I like it for the front. The back doesn't really matter because it'll be against the wall or a door. I'm going to start by putting the pins in here. And these pins are going to help hold everything in place until we are ready to glue this down. Hot glue doesn't work so much on foam, so it works a little bit better to use pins until you can do fabric on fabric. And I hope that makes sense to you, just explaining it that way. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in there since my pins are holding it in place for me, and I'll grab my hot glue and just start working up the cone until it is glued down all the way to the top. Just taking my time. And then you can use a spatula, you can use anything that you have, protect your fingers, and you can use that to press those pieces on top of one another. So I'm going to trim this top down. I really only need about 1 inch to overlap. Probably don't even need that much. I could go with less, but I don't want to take a chance of cutting it too short. Because you know I don't do a lot of measuring on my channel. We eyeball things, don't we? Yes, we do. Alright, I'm an impatient crafter. I like to get it done. So, as I said, glue doesn't work so great in foam situations, especially this type of floral foam. But I'm just doing the best I can to get it laid down. I'm going to add some. If you use a cool temp, that's a better option. The glue seems to go through the plastic and it eats into the foam. And then the glue picks off of the foam. So we don't want that. We want everything to stay tightly in place. And with that said, I'm going to grab some more of these pins and I'll be securing the top. The glue is dry on the sides now. We can take those out. And we have the base of our beautiful cone. And this is the back. You can see where the seam is here. These are some little beaded necklaces that you can get from Dollar Tree or anywhere, really. These came out of a treat pack for Halloween last year. So I'm going to use these as my hanger. Now, you can do a hanger that goes across equally on both sides, rather like if you had a basket and you have the handle going across the center. But I like to hang mine from the doors, and to do it that way, I like to just put the hanger on the back. And that also will keep me from having to worry about the hanger hitting the items that I put on top. because this cone is going to be very full, very full. And I want to make sure I have plenty of hanger on there to get it secured to whatever, wall or door I want to put it on. All right, so I'm going to let that glue dry. I kind of put it under the pen and then put glue on top, and it's not going to come out now. Then I'm going to start decorating. This is the fun part, y'all. And I've made Tussy Mussies before a few times on my channel, but generally it's paper or tissue paper that, I would use for something like that. But this fabric was just screaming to me that this needed to be done with it. Very circusy, vintagey. I just love this. The little harlequin. Yes. So I'm going to grab some trims. I've got some of this black lace trim. I'm going to take some of the pom-pom trim and cut it down so that we can make almost like a collar on the top. We're going to decorate that top. Protect those fingers. And then we're going to glue those in place. And now that we're putting it on fabric, we can use the hot glue and we don't have to use the pins necessarily. So I'll take that trim and take that edge almost all the way to the top. Not completely, but almost. I want to be sure that it has plenty of grip onto the fabric that I have on the base of this cone. So we'll go all the way around here, putting down this beautiful black trim. Now this lacy looking trim came from the thrift store, and I got a huge wad of it, I guess. I don't know another word for it, but it was just all over the table at Goodwill, and I just kind of spooled it up around my hand. I knew I had to have it, and I've had it for a few years and use it in my vintage and in regular Halloween. I just love it. But you can find it, probably at any craft store, some type of a lace trim that you like to use. I like the fact that it is a trim that already curves because it goes around the cone really nicely. So I'm going to be layering here, and I'll put that little pom-pom garland all the way up to the edge where it overlaps on the lace and kind of seals off our edge. And then we're going to take some of the tinsel. I pulled this tinsel off of a pumpkin from Dollar Tree last year or the year before because I used the base for another project. If I can remember which project that was, I will try to put that in the description box so you can see it. But I have loads and loads of Halloween playlists and videos for you to watch if you want to watch more, and I will put something at the end of the video as well for you. Okay, so we're just going to go round and round and round until this is all over. The pins work best for this because it's hard to glue the tinsel down because the plasticky parts keep melting. But you do it whatever way is easiest for you. Now I'm going to take some more trim, and this happens to be the same width as the little pom-pom ribbon or trim, so I'm going to use this here, and it is in our orange colors and in black, and I like that. It's not an exact match, but that is not a concern of mine. All right, so I've got some stir sticks, and I have got a headband that is a cute little witch hat, and I thought, hey, we're going to use this. So you just pull the bottom little panel off and pull the headband part off, and y'all can get these little things just about anywhere. I know you can. I see them all the time. You could probably get them at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to go around with the hot glue and seal my bottom back off. This is how it is going to look on the cone. I'm going to take a little leftover stick from some floral. This is just a little wire from florals that I had cut off. I'm going to take a slice in the middle, fill it up with some glue, and then put that in there and give it a couple of minutes to stiffen and dry. I'm putting it slightly off center so that it'll be a little bit crooked. I'm going to add a little spider ring. I cut the ring part off and I put that on the top. And I'll take my stir sticks, cut that at a slant on the bottom with my cutters. Now we're going to make some little signs to go down on the inside of the cone as well. I will link this. This is from Amazon. This is a big package of these prints in a bunch of different sizes. And I am going to be using them a lot. So if you like them, go and grab them, and we will be crafting these things together. But you can print anything off the computer that you have. You can use a Halloween card and cut pictures off. You can use magazine pieces, scrapbook paper, whatever you want to use for this. I thought these signs would be gorgeous in here, and I will let you decide if I achieved that. So I'm just going to put them on some foam board to make them thicker. And I use my glue stick, and the purple will fade when it is dry. It's just a school glue stick. And I'm going to cut the foam off and make these into little squares. All right, so now I can decide where we want to put the hat. I'm going to put it off the side here, just like this. And I am loving this already. I'm taking an acrylic marker, but you can use paint, whatever you want. And I'm just covering over the pick part of these little cuties so they kind of go into the background. That I have bats and pumpkins. These are some little vintage looking pumpkins and a cupcake topper that I got at the thrift store. And I'm going to add those in. You know, with the vintage things, they have lots of little goodies going on in the top, and it just looks so festive and happy and exciting for Halloween. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. I added my little picks in, then I'm going to add the ghost in, and he's kind of sitting amongst the things, keeping in mind where the back is while I'm putting everything in. I'm going to add a little pumpkin here because he looks very vintage to me, and he could be. I found a bunch of these. And I'm going to glue the hat down just to kind of keep it to that side angle. I'll take another one of those stir sticks, cut it at a slant, and add it to the back. This is just a little pom-pom on a stick that I have here, and you can see the downward spiral that I have. It looks really cute to me, y'all. But now let's add the piece de resistance. We're going to take the picks off the bottom, and we're going to be using those in these little photos that we have. Now I'm only going to use 2 of these. I decided just to use 2. And I'm going to take the pokey side and push into that foam. If it comes out the back, don't worry about it. Just reposition it, but try not to destroy your picture when you do it. See, I'm going at a downward angle. We're going to do both of those that way. And then just for a little more interest and decoration, we're going to add trim to these. Protect those fingers, y'all, because we're going to be working really close to the edge with some really small, thin pieces. And you will burn yourself really quickly with this. So I'm trying to push this to the outer edge, and I did leave that white border so I would have a little something for this to cling to. Once I press this down, I'm going to take this cute little trim or ribbon, and I'm going to go all the way to the edge and then flip it over on itself like that, and using the wrong finger. Y'all see that, don't you? I do it all the time. I do it all the time. We're going to continue around, fold it, just fold it over on itself, and press it down into the glue. And this is going to give it a little trim for the top. We'll add a little pom-pom down here on the bottom. Excuse my head. And I have just enough for 3 in that section to go across, and I'll cut it off. I love the look of this. It reminds me of those the little toys where you would twist them back and forth and it sounded like a drum. I love those. I might even make one of those for Halloween, y'all. I might do that. I'll take some of this trim, very gently push this down into there. I'm trying to pull it as far to the outside so it doesn't obscure our picture. And then I'm going to go around the sides with the trim here, all the way around until we have this cute little tinsel all the way around it. If there's any bare spots, just go in there and add another little piece. Not a big deal. Think of all the things you could use to trim out your pictures. So many options. So then I'll take those picks and place those down into the cone as well. I want to make sure that everything can be seen. So I'm looking at it from a bunch of different angles. And then I'm going to go right through the hat and into it right here with this picture. Love that. Love it. Okay, I am going to make a bow because you know that's what I do, right? So I'm going to take some of this tulle, and this came from Dollar Tree. I'm going to fold it over several times. And then the folds are going to be about 6 inches, it looks like. You don't have to be precise because this is just a little bow that we're going to make. I'm going to fold it over, I think, about 6 times. The more you put, the thicker the bow will be, and the more opaque it will be. If you use less folds, you'll be able to see through your fabric a bit more. But I like that it is, you can really see the spider webs on it. I like that. I'm going to scrunch this up with the folded edges to the outside. It is going to make a little bow like this. I'll take a little piece of ribbon that I have, and this is just some vintage sort of like velvet. Look at all that fallout, y'all. Ugh. Mr. Skeleton says he loves you. And thank you for watching our videos. We got so many good ideas this year. All right, I'm going to slice through the outside of the bow to make all these little pieces stand out independently. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, if you're worried about flat ends, you can always pull these out and fluff them out more, and you can take your scissors and cut into the outsides of them and kind of make them look a little more rough, if that makes sense to you. So now I'm just going to take that tool, I'm going to put it at an angle and add it right here on the front side of this beautiful little cone. Press it right there. And I always like to take the opportunity to look at every bit of it closely to see if there are any more details that I want to add. And of course, I'm going to cut off some of these pom-poms and just put those right there on the corners of the ribbon trimmed picture. Absolutely love these pictures. They are vintage. I cannot say enough, and I'm going to be doing so many projects. You'll probably get sick of seeing them. Okay, so of course we're going to make a little something extra. We're going to have a little bow tassel or something like that to go off the bottom. I am going to cut this tool into ribbons. How about that? I love it. I love the glitter on it. I'm going to add just a stack of ribbons here that I like. I'm going to add some of that tinsel to it as well. Y'all, please don't ever stop trying, and I always encourage you to make it your own. Okay, so I'm going to take those ribbons and I'm going to cut that little stack in half. You can always start off by cutting into smaller pieces if you want to, but this is about 6 or 7 inches. I'll grab those in the middle, and then I'll take some more of that ribbon and I'm going to tie that off. Feel free to use jute if you want to. I'm just trying to stick to more of what you would see in vintage Halloween, and it would have been the ribbon, I think. Okay, that beautiful velvet ribbon. Okay, so now I'm pulling this down, holding it tightly. Then I'm going to take another piece of ribbon and I'm going to tie this around about 1 inch from the top. We're going to make this into a tassel. So not a bow this time, but a tassel. I'm going to press it down in there, make sure everything's laying nice and flat, and then I'll tie it. I'll tie a double knot, and then I'll just wrap it back and forth around till I have just a tiny bit of ribbon left. That's going to lock it all in there and really give it that look of a tassel. Now I want to trim my ends so it's all even, and I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch off the bottom because I know how big I want the tassel to be. Sometimes when you're making a tassel, you can't really gauge it until you get it in your hand. And I'm going to tie it here on the end. So the top of the cone is flat, right? And you have a little bit of excess of fabric that won't have any cone on it. It won't have any of that foam to support it. And that's where I wanted to put my tassel. And it ties on nicely there, and it looks like it was intended to be this way. Simple, simple. I'm just going to tie that on. You can tie it into a bow. You can tie it into double knots, trim it off. You can just leave that ribbon on there if you want to. Isn't that cute? Oh, I hope y'all love this as much as I do. I am absolutely adoring this cone. Yes, and you can do it. You can definitely do it. The icing on the cake is going to be one more pick right in the bottom. A little bat. Perfect. And there it is in its beautiful vintage glory. Next, we're making a treat box. We are going to start off with a little round box from Dollar Tree. We're going to need the top and the bottom for this project. We're going to take a variety of ribbons, whatever type you like. Got some Dollar Tree, got some thrifted, and we're going to take a variety of trims. Look at this yellow trim. We're going to take some white paint and a brush, and any panel of fabric that you like, and a vintage toy to go on top. Look at this little squeaker toy. I probably had this when I was a kid. And I'm also going to use some of my double stick tape. So we're going to start by painting this box white. We're going to paint it white because we want the white fabric that we're going to be putting on top of it to really pop against the white paint. And it will look a little bit darker, a little more dingy, if we put it against the brown box. So just go over the top, the bottom, and let it dry. Next, we're going to lay our box down. We're going to cut out a strip of fabric that is enough to go over the sides all the way around and enough to tuck into the top. So you'll put some glue on it. You're going to line your bottom up with the bottom edge of your fabric, and then you'll just go ahead and firmly roll this over until you get back to the starting point. Add some hot glue, and then glue that in place. No need to add glue anywhere else on there. That's going to hold it fine. I'm going to trim up my bottom because, you know, when you cut, you don't always cut a straight line. This fabric came from dirt cheap in a package of Amazon return stuff. So it's a package and it's got a whole bunch of different fabrics in it. You use whatever you can find, and I know Dollar Tree is probably going to have some fantastic pieces. I just thought this looked a little kind of like, you know, youthful and a little bit like vintage to me. Or like what in my head what it would look like. Very fun, very simple and fun. So I'm going to go to the top of the box, and I just used the bottom of the box to hold the lid while I put the glue on here and put this in place. Once I get that pom-pom rim all the way around, it's going to look like this. Very cute. And then we're going to start layering just like we did the other one. But I'm going to be layering this beautiful purple ribbon right over the top. This glitter ribbon came from Dollar Tree. Love it. Then on top of that, we're going to add some trim, whatever type of trim you have. You could even take something off an old dress if you wanted to. This came from a friend who donated a bunch of craft supplies to me. Okay, so and then we're going to go to the bottom. We're going to let everything dry on the top while we work on the bottom. So this is the bottom edge, and we're going to trim this out with some more of that glittery ribbon. It's going to match and make everything look, you know, nice and look good together. Then I'll take some of this ribbon and I'm going to go around it right in the middle. And then we're going to start on the top of the box. Now, this time we're only using glue. We can't use those floral pins. So this time you're going to want to use cool temp glue or some other type of glue, whatever you have, and start gluing this down. The difference is with cool temp glue, you can get, it dries fast. You'll have to add a little more time for your projects if you use any other type of a glue in a bottle maybe. So unless you use super glue, of course. All right, so I'm going to go around almost like a cinnamon roll. We're going to go round and round and round, getting smaller and smaller until we are on the inside. I'm going to leave an open spot on the inside for that double stick tape so that we can stick down that little dog. I'll then grab my nano tape, cut off a piece about the size of that little square down there that we have left. Put that down slightly to the back, and the back is going to be where the seams meet, so keep that in mind. Keep all your seams in one area, and then he will stick down. Look at that. No damage, so that he can be used in other projects if I wanted to. The easiest way to get the box together at this point is to push your pom-poms down and do it upside down. If you try to do it the other way, the pom-poms are going to try to go into the box and you won't be able to get the lid on, but it will fit. I got some pumpkins from Dollar Tree last year, and they are purple and glittery. So to bring that purple in that's in the fabric and in some of our ribbon, I'm going to take some of those pick tops and just glue those down together, make a little stack there, and we're going to put it right to the side of the little dog. Hold it in place, and don't hesitate to let it sort of hang off the edge and spill over. You can certainly do that. I've seen that in a lot of projects. Just, you know, fill it up. Just fill it up to the top. I'll use a Dollar Tree witch hat to go on the side of the little dog. Look how cute so far, y'all. You could stop at that point if you wanted, but we're going to keep on because you know I'm going to keep on. You know this about me by now, right? I'm going to keep on. We're going to cut down some pieces of ribbon, and we're going to make a little embellishment for his hat. So take whatever colors you like, and I'm just going with the colors that coordinate with everything else going on in this project. And a piece of ribbon I'm going to tie around the middle. The ribbon pieces right now are at about 5 inches. I'm going to cut them down. I'm going to cut about an inch off of each side, so we have about 3 inches across. Fluff it out as much as you can, and then I'm going to glue it right on top of that hat. Look at her fancy hat. She's going to a Halloween party in that hat. Okay, so we got some little goodies that we can add here and there. I'm going to add this little bat, and it's actually a wooden sticker from Dollar Tree, but I'm going to use it for something else, just to make a little piece of decor. And we're going to give this cute little dog a collar. So I'll take that same trim. It is stretchy. I'm trying not to stretch it out though. And I'm going to tuck it here and there so that it looks as though it is going around her neck. I will glue it onto itself and onto the back of the box very simply, and then trim off any excess. The glue's not going to stick to that dog, so be sure you put it on the box. Ooh, look how precious. Alright, so now I'm going to add a little orange spider right over here. I'll grab up some tulle and make a little puff for the top of her hat. We could do a pom-pom if you wanted to do a pom-pom up there, or you could leave it just like it is. But I've found with these vintage crafts, it's almost overdone to the point where some people, you know, they do call it tacky. I just say it's busy because I like it. Tacky seems to have a very bad connotation, and I think that it's in the eye of the beholder, right? So I think that in this situation, tacky is called for. So I'm going to split the top of that little pom-pom thingy, and we're going to stick it right down on top of her hat. A little bit of hot glue. I'm going to do the same thing with this piece, only this is going to be a little backing, a little extra little puff on the side. This would have been really cute if I would have had orange or purple, but I didn't. I had black, so we're going to go with it. There's plenty of black in this project to make it make sense. How cute is that? Can you imagine the things you could put down in that cute little box? What would you put in a little treat box like this? Candy? And next are a set of 4 box ornaments. Okay, so I've got some little jewelry boxes here. We're just take them apart, and we're going to be using the lids for both. Here's a little quick measurement to give you an idea, and the bottoms for both. This is going to make 4 ornaments, y'all. We're going to take a variety of little miniatures that you can use in your project. We're going to use some trims, some laces, and we're going to go back to our stack of these pictures that I got. Look at these things, y'all. They are so good. It was really hard to choose which ones to use here, but I did in the end pick 4 that I thought would look nice. I'm just going to cut those off, and then I'll be trimming them down enough that they will fit right onto the inside of the boxes. I'm going to use that glue stick again to go all over the bottom and then place those pictures in. I'm not concerned about the white edge on here. You could cut it off if you wanted to, but I'm not concerned because I'm going to be covering that up. So press it down with your fingers and then grab something narrow that you can flatten it out with to make sure it's going to cling nicely to the glue. You don't want anything to peel out. And this little Cricut tool makes it easy. Cute! Here are the 4 boxes before they are embellished. I'm going to take a little bit of pom-pom trim for this the first box. I'll be gluing it right on the sides so that it is hanging across the front. It's almost making a little awning. So I want to know, do y'all do a Halloween tree? Have you ever done a Halloween tree? I'm considering doing one this year to put all the ornaments I'm making on. What do y'all think about that? Is that something that you would like to see? I would really like to do it if you want to see it. Okay, so we're going to go along, and I have some fur trim here. And I've had this since last year, and I'm going to add that in the bottom. I'm just smearing around that glue. I'm not putting a whole lot, but I'm smearing it around so I can glue it in there. I'll be adding a bat, and it's just a bat sticker. We'll have a little miniature cat ornament. I'm going to add her down there. We're going to make a hanger, and I'm just going to use a little bit of trim with a dot of glue right in the center sides of the box, give it enough to hang with. You can put it on a branch or whatever you want to put it on. You could leave it like this, or you can add a little more. And you know I'm going to add a little more. I'm going to add a little head, and this little skull came from a 2-pack, I think, of Dollar Tree necklaces. And you can see how these bones are still stuck together, and I'm going to use them as is. They fit perfectly across the top with a little hot glue. And that would complete this one. Really cute. Okay, so the next one, we're going to trim that out on the inside with some of that glittery orange ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'll place that down. I'm trying to get it as close as I can to the picture and the inside of the box. Now, for those of you who do not have very good dexterity, or you have problems with your hands, or you have arthritis, or your vision is bad and you can't see down to do the detailed work like this, just use paint instead. Use paint or decoupage with some glitter. You can do those things. You can use a marker. However you want to embellish yours, make it your own. You do not have to do the little fussy stuff, you know? But that really does, in my opinion, make the project when it comes to vintage projects, is that all those little details. Okay, I'm going to press this down, and I'm just using the end of one of those stir sticks to push that down into the glue. And I have trimmed it out there. Now you can't see the back. This pumpkin is too wide, but because it's that soft moldable plastic, I can push the back in so that it will fit inside of the frame. Look! Ah! I love it. So then I am, yes, I'm going to take some little branches here, and these are just things I've had for a while, not sure where they came from. You can just use little pieces, little bits and bobs. If you have anything black or brown, whatever color that coordinates, I'm going to glue them to the sides of the box, put the pumpkin in, and add a little glittery eucalyptus. Look at that picture. A little pumpkin head and an owl. And we're going to add a hanger here. You can do the same type hanger to all your projects if you want. Okay, this one I am going to trim out with a little bit of that same furry looking trim. You could use tinsel here if that's what you have. I'll add some glue and then press this down in there. And we'll go all the way around the box in the bottom and then fluff it all out. Make it stand out, look nice and fluffy. Okay? So I've got just some satin ribbon here from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that to trim out the inside of this box. You can really change these things up. You can use any type of ribbon you like. You can use any type of trim, and it's going to make your project look unique. It's going to make it look different than everybody else's. But that's what you want, right? Isn't that what brings you joy? Your own creations. So I've trimmed it out with some thin ribbon in the bottom part. I'm going to add some Mod Podge to this pick, this orange pick, with a paintbrush. And then I am going to douse it in glitter. I mean, why not? It's Halloween, right? So I'm going to take, this is just some fingernail glitter, actually. And I'm going to put it down in there in the front and pat it down there on the back. Tap a little more into the sides. You can take your finger and apply that on there if you want to. And this is how it's going to look. Let it dry. I'm going to cut it off with a pick. And we're going to use him for an ornament on here. Yes. So I'm just going to decide where I want to put it. And since the witch is off to that side, we're going to put him over here on this side. I think it's going to make it a little more balanced this way. And there's a ghost in the top holding a pumpkin. So we're going to put this little ghost on the bottom. I'm going to add a little top from a bat pick that I got at Dollar Tree. Because there's a bat in the picture, it's going to give it a little more dimension. And then we are going to make a hanger for this one. This hanger is going to be a little bit different. We're going to flip it over and do it on the back. Be sure if you use these ornaments where they can be seen from the back that you paint the back or cover them with some type of paper. Yes, I like it. Okay, so now we're going to use some scrapbook paper to trim the inside. I'm going to get my measurement for the inside of the box. I'm going to cut a strip, and look how pretty this is. Thanks again, Marcia, for the donation of all the paper pads. Love them. I'm going to press this on the inside of the box. I'm going to crease it a little bit with my fingernails when I get it in there. Just kind of push it into the corners. You can push it with a tool if you want to. This is just to kind of give me the inside frame of the box. So I know where to crease it. I'm going to pull it out and fold on all those creases to give me some good corners. I'm going to use double stick tape and put on each of the straight pieces and then place it back down inside of the box. I'm going to push it to the box. So I'm pressing that paper straight to the box. It's going to hold it in place. You can use hot glue here if you want to. Keeping in mind that with hot glue you risk burning yourself, so use your finger protectors. And then we're going to trim this out, and it's going to cover up where our paper frame meets the inside of the box. I'm going to use a little bit of vintage, this is like a velvety velour type ribbon, and I'm going to use it on the sides first, and then we're going to box it in on the top and the bottom. I'm going to use a little longer than I have to so I don't burn my fingers, and I'll be trimming off any excess. I'm going to take some regular glue. I want to give you lots of options here, and go in with that same ribbon trim and place this down. Now you have to allow dry time with these things too, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to do the top and the bottom, and then we'll use the same hanger as we had used before on the sides. Now I want to make a little, almost like an awning on the top with a beaded necklace. So I'm going to start in one corner. I've cut off a length of this. I'm going to press that down until the glue sets. I'll go to the other corner, press that one down, take the edge there, press that bead down. I'm sorry, I'm out of the camera there. And then I'll flip it over with a dot of glue right in the center, grab my little pick and push it up so it looks like it has, you know, it's kind of strung across the top. And I love that. Then I'm going to make a bow. I'll grab a Dollar Tree ornament that is orange, and it is just some of those Halloween ornaments that they put out in the 12 packs. I'm going to use that almost like a pumpkin. I'm leaving the little hanger on the top because I just felt like I needed to add it there. And I'll add some hot glue and press this down. I'm going to smear around some glue on the bottom and add some of this. Stuff's like you put this stuff in packages, right? When you're making gifts and things. That's what this is. And you can find it at Dollar Tree in the gift section. Or the gift wrap section, rather. So I'm using this in black to make the bottom, and it's nestled down in there. And it is so cute and unique. So I'm going to add a little something extra, and I thought, for some reason, I thought skull and crossbones. So I cut 2 of the little bones off, put them in an X in the corner, and then I cut one of the little skulls off, and I'm going to add it right in the top. And hey, the good thing about Halloween ornaments and decorations is if you get glue webs, fine. Leave them there because they look spooky, don't they? They look webby and spidery and spooky, and we can leave them. Now on the bottom, I decided to do almost like a little border. So I'm going to add a couple of little bones here, and then we'll put one more little skull down there. And I use the orange so that it will contrast with the black. Okay, we're going to go back to that witch and add a little something to her. I'm taking a little bit of this orange jute, I guess, because I didn't have a very thin orange ribbon. And where she had that little scarf or sash, I'm just going to make it a little bigger for dimension and add a rhinestone to it. Y'all look at these 4 ornaments. I hope that you try to make one of these 4 ornaments. I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. If you've seen something that you enjoy, we're all about budget-friendly DIYs with a little uniqueness on this channel. I love Halloween, I love fall, I love the time of year when you can get out the oranges and the rich colors and the coziness, and I love vintage, and you're going to be seeing that all through the rest of this year. So I hope that you enjoy these projects that I have made today. I'd really love for you to give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. That helps me know what type of content that you want to watch so I can make more for you. Right now I have these ornaments just hung off of a regular little branch that I have, just so that you can see what they look like until I decide if we're going. As always, I encourage you to make it your own. If you don't like something that I did, that's totally fine. Change it up. Make it into something that you really enjoy and that you really like. Subscriber Appreciation Month is coming in November, so be sure that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. You don't want to miss your chance. We have good giveaways here. The first project is our cabinet of curiosities. All right, so I'm going to start off with this little tray or cabinet that I found at Goodwill. I have a variety of stickers, so what you're going to see is just some options you could use. So I've got some stickers, and these are the ones that are kind of 3D, and they look kind of old. And I've got some wood butterflies. I've got a variety of stickers and stamps from Temu. depending on what kind of theme you're going for. I've got a little lighted lantern from Dollar Tree, got a frame, some little pumpkins, a raven, a squirrel, a variety of these mesh ribbons from Dollar Tree, and these are from Temu. I'm going to take a look at these. Very cute. These just came in. I just got them. This is not a sponsored video, but I have found I'm getting some very unique craft pieces from Temu, so that's why I share those with you. And the prices are good, but you know, you can decide on your own where you want to spend your money. Very cute. These are so nice. I knew I had to have them. When I saw it, I just knew I had to have them for our vintage Halloween. Okay? Then you can use a variety of little plastic insects. Got some little, these are actually cupcake toppers. Charms from a bracelet. Little trees, little branches. Some things from Dollar Tree, stars and bones. They're just foam. These little picks from Dollar Tree. A candy corn looking tree from Dollar Tree. And then from Dollar Tree Plus, I have 2 boxes of these little pieces, and we're going to be using a couple from each box. They're very nice and definitely worth the $5 because you get at least 5, sometimes 6 in a box, so it's definitely worth your money. And they're bigger than the little fairy figurines that you can find in the garden section. Okay, so here is our box, and we're going to try to find things that will fit in the spaces. For now, I'm going to turn the box sideways, and we're going to just kind of play around with placement. Don't become overwhelmed. Just, you know, see what you like and see what fits in the different little spots. And we'll give each of the little things that we like a little home. Tree is too big to go in the larger place and the bigger slots there, but these trees can be cut down. They're just on a wire, a twisted wire, so you can cut this down. I'm going to cut the tip off of the tree, and I'll be trimming up the bottom too. You can see here, I'm going to work on the bottom a little bit. Sometimes I get nervous about cutting into pieces, but then I just have to remind myself, you know, I paid $1.25 for it. If I mess it up, I have another one. Not a big deal. Okay. Now I've got it where it will fit. And it'll just fluff right out like it, you know, it did before if you just kind of play around with the fibers. Be sure you dump your fibers out of there. This looks like spider web. So for this project, I'm going to use it for that. I've just doubled it over. And yeah, that's going to fit in there. I like that as a background. You can use construction paper, or you can use any kind of crafting paper or wallpaper in the back if you want to do that. But because of the depth and because I want to have some dimension in here, you're not really going to see what's in the far back. If you get up close and look, you can, but some of these you're not really going to be able to see. But I'm still going to show them to you so you have an idea of what you can use. Think of all those bits and pieces you have from Halloween crafting gone by that are just maybe in your bowl of scraps, or you didn't know what to do with the pieces, but for some reason you can't part with them. This is a great opportunity to use all those little extra pieces. I did not have to buy not one single thing new for this project. I had all of these. I bought these thinking I was going to make a little village with them, but I thought they fit perfectly in this box, so I'm just going to use them in the box. All right, so I want to get that white tone down a little bit, so, you know, for my choice, I'm just going to use some antiquing wax over all of the whites that I might be using in here. I am going to place this forward and hold it in place until the glue is set. This one will go, it'll extend slightly outside of the box, but for the most part it fits in there. And I've just added some glue to hold that in place too. See that? I'm taking this little sculpture of the hear no, speak no, see no, you know, and I'm going to put him in here. He is a little too small for the big spots, and he's a little definitely too big for the smaller places. So what I'm going to do is just cut it down. This is a thin wood, like a veneer or, you know, something really thin. And I'm just going to use my clippers to snap the sides, and then my bullnose pliers to rock back and forth and cut off the inner part. And I'm going to go do this in little sections, in 3 different sections, all the way to the back of the box. So now we have one long narrow spot. I don't want splinters, so I'm going to take my little emery board and just sand it down on both sides. Makes it look nice too. And you won't be able to see where we cut the divider out. If that's a concern, just grab some antiquing wax and go over the lighter spots. Now I want him to go here, but I want it to look more like sort of like a topiary, I guess. So I'm gonna have to give it some more height by standing it up. This is just a scrap piece that I have. You can use blocks from Dollar Tree or whatever you have that you can stack this on top of and just put it right on top. Now, an idea, if you don't have one of these boxes, if you look at those toys, Melissa and Doug toys, a lot of times they have divisions in their boxes, puzzle boxes and things like that. So consider picking something that up like that at the craft store. You won't have as many slots in it, but you can make it work for sure. For this little lighted feature, I am going to use Velcro dots. I use 2 in the back to begin with, and then I do add 2 to the front later on, which you do not see. To get them in the right spots, I'm going to add the soft side down to the lantern, and then the prickly side is going to be what's touching the box. So when I put it in here, I've put them together so they line up, and I'm going to just squish them down and hold them in place until until I feel like it's had enough time to kind of grab. Then you can just take it out, turn it on, turn it off. Yay! Happy dance. Happy dance. Love it when things come together. Okay, so we can turn this back off, save our battery. Okay, now we're going to keep going, and I'm again doing the same thing. If it's something that I know I'm going to leave in that spot, I'll leave it there. If not, then I'll just kind of move it around till I get it like I like it. Now on this one, I am also going to be using a mahogany, I think it's the mahogany, no, it's the walnut furniture repair marker. And I'm going to use that to just kind of trace out and give it a little more detail so it doesn't disappear when we get it in the box. You can put that on, and then quickly, you can kind of blend it out a little bit with your baby wipe. Okay, so this is a bracelet. I have 2 of these. I bought one to craft, one to wear. I'm going to bend this out. It's sort of it's metal, but it's kind of soft and flexible. So I'm just going to bend it out straight, and I'll show you what to do with that in a moment. We're going to skip around a little bit, so bear with me. Now this one also, I've got it toward the front of the box. This is going to make some shadows behind it, plus it's going to bring it close enough to the front that the light will hit it and you can actually see what's in there instead of losing it in the back. If you choose to use something like these puffy stickers, you can put them in, and I just put mine all the way against the back wall. Now the benefit of these as opposed to something that is flat with no color is that there's enough dimension in it for the light to reflect off of it. So, you know. Okay, so now I've got some of these that look like books. I found these recently. I really like them. I'm going to put these in here to make it look like maybe there's some books on the shelf. And here's another one. You can trim them down if you want to trim them down, but I'm just going to use the 2 books here. I like that. You can also use hot glue if you want to make sure that everything stays in place once you get it exactly where you want to keep it. I'm going to add a little spider to the top just to kind of embellishment. There's this like sands through the hourglass. Do y'all know what that's from? It's been around a long time. Okay, so I'm just going to add my little sticker in there. Then I'm going to color my other white pieces like I said before. Let it dry. I'm going to grab these are just some jewelry pliers, but I pick up any kind of tool I find that I think I can use crafting, and I repurpose it for something else. So I'm going to bend the bottom so it almost has like a leg or a little stand to hold it. I prop the box up for this because I don't want the glue to drip to the back. I want this to sit right down in the glue, and I have it bent so that it's a tight squeeze and it'll hold itself in place. For this little broom piece, I'm just going to take the colored stick off. You can paint yours if you would like. And I'm going to go over this with a little antiquing wax. This is just a dowel rod that I cut down. I want it to look more like a natural stick. A little hot glue and stick it right back in there. Rather than having the cartoony colors here, I'm going to wrap this with a little bit of burlap. And then I will also be coloring the black part of this later. I'm just going to embellish it somewhat. So stay tuned so you can see for sure what we do. Then you can just glue and trim that off. Okay? So I wasn't certain about where I wanted the hourglass. So now that I know, I'm going to add my glue and then I'm going to put it in there. You can add moss if you want to the bottom of these, if you would like to do that. But y'all, I'm planning on doing another one of these in more of a sort of a gothic, dark academia, dark cottagecore look. So be sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss that, because and by the way, I am going to be changing my room up from the cottage, like a light cottage core. It's real neutral in here. I'm going to be changing it to dark cottage core. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I will try to share some of that with y'all. Okay, so this is just a little bit of that sand colored paint, and I'm just kind of brushing it over a little bit. I love to just keep blending out and adding colors and layers like it's old, you know? Like it's old and it's been loved before and we're loving it again. So I'm gonna take that spider web track there and add a bunch of spiders to it. I have this little pot and it came in a bag. I think this was from St. Patrick's Day at Dollar Tree. But I'm going to take this pot and I'm going to color this with chalk paint because it's a real shiny color and I want it to look like it's old. So we'll start off with the black paint and let that dry thoroughly. While that's drying, I'm going to make a bunch of balloons for one of our little ghosts. Now, to make it easier to stick to the back of the ghost, I'm going to use a pipe cleaner to wind these together. And then that is easier to stick down. It kind of grabs the glue and will hold it in place on the back. He is going to be a little bit forward in the box. There's going to be spaces behind him, but the dimension I love. Okay, so he's glued in place. He's not going anywhere. You can also add a little glue to the back of his little balloon there. I'm going to add in some rub-ons in case this is something that you might have and that you might like to use. These are from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to burnish it down. It's a window. It's really nice. And then I'm going to take another one. And this is like a rose with something on it from the same sheet. I'm going to put it down. And I know we have talked before on this channel about happy accidents. Well, we have a happy accident. Or I'm not going to blame y'all for it. I have a happy accident. You can see here that it's pulled off. I knew that it was going to happen when it happened, but I'm going to show you how to make that look like you did it on purpose. So I'm going to take some rich espresso and I'm going to go over this pot and I'm going to make it look like maybe it was a bronze or brass pot that is just burnt because it's been on the spit forever, you know. I'm going to color it and I'm only going to go over the one side that's going to be exposed, go under the lip, over the lip, and dots, pounce it all over until you are comfortable with the amount of coverage that you get, and be sure that you do the handle of that as well. Set it aside and let that dry. Then I'm going to move on to another section. Y'all, when my mind starts going, oh my goodness, I hope y'all can follow me. Just jump around with me for a little bit, okay? Let's just pretend like we're all in Brandy's head right now, okay? Beware though. Be very aware. It gets nuts in there sometimes. Okay, a little bit of hot glue on the top, a little bit of hot glue on the bottom. I'm just explaining what I'm doing since I didn't think it pertinent to show you what I was doing. And then I'm going to go over and just kind of tap on that same, whatever's left in the brush. I'm going to tap that on to the picture. I'm also going to put it on the lantern. Then I'm going to put it on the wood pieces I have in there. I'm also going to put a little bit on my tree trunk, you know, just wherever. Okay, so now that the pot is dry, I'm going to take some of this meshy ribbon, I'm going to kind of ball it up, put it in the pot, and then I have these two bones. I've had these forever. I did them last year, and I probably thrifted them because I find little odds and end pieces of stuff that are not in bags when I go to the bins, so I just pick it up. But you can use those foam Dollar Tree bones if you want to, and you can antique those a little bit with the antiquing wax. I'm going to add some hot glue, and that is some smoking hot glue. Put that pot in there with the pretty side facing forward. Ooh, I love it. She looks like she's over the pot. Then I'm going to take another little picture that I like, and this one has a skeleton on it. I'm going to add him in here. These pictures came from a package that I think I ordered from Amazon. If I can find that link, I'll grab it and I'll put it in the description box for you because, yeah, I love them. It's several different prints in, I think, 4 different sizes. So, okay, so for more dimension and support, I'm going to take another block here and I'm going to paint it black. I'm going to put this little black ghost, and this is just top of a coffee stirrer. I mean, I'm telling you, you're just going to go nuts here. You just do whatever. I'm going to put it down in the box with that broken stencil, and I also put a sticker in there beside it. And then to cover up that shiny, I'm just going to cover it with the black paint that's left in the brush. I'm going to go back over and add a little more black paint here and there just to make sure that everything is blended and everything looks consistent throughout the project. Now, I love this raven. Absolutely love it, and y'all know I love my ravens. Put your spectacles on. And then I'm going to trim off all of this white. I want to make a picture with this, and I don't want that white in the background. Needs to be trimmed up a little bit more. Just don't want to cut my words off. And then it's going to fit here. I'm going to take my paint. I'm just using what's in that brush. I'm just going to push it down and just kind of make it look messy and distressed and just ew. Give it a chance to dry. Then you're going to peel the backing off your sticker and just apply it somewhat toward the center. Now, the fact that we painted it black on the outside will give you a little bit of freedom if you can't get it lined up exactly, because you're not really going to notice. Now again, same thing, just to take a little shine out, I'm going to add a little bit of that black paint that's from the brush in there. I'm going to add some hot glue and put that right down in there. Hi, Mr. Ghost. Bye, Mr. Ghost. All right, so I'm going to add my raven up here. Look at that little splinter poking out, y'all. I do get it. I'm going to glue it down in there with that raven picture. I'm going to take some of these ornaments from Dollar Tree. These, of course, like I said, everything pretty much is from last year. I'm going to add some glue here, and I'm just going to make like a little, again, a little stacked thing. I'm going to take this frame that once was yellow, and we painted it with black. And I am going to, and I actually just spray painted it. I'm going to take that same espresso color and pounce it all over this frame to bring out the beautiful details, and inside that lip too. And then I'm going to use some double stick tape and stick it on the back of my picture. Then I am going to go inside of the backing and kind of blur that out with a little bit of that same espresso color, just so it blends in a little bit better. Put the backing back on, and then of course tear this off so it will lay flat. It's just a little kickstand on there. And you can also take that off with a screwdriver if you want. I'm going to take that same espresso and go over the lighter spots. It's really going to make that pop out. Then I'm going to add this frame right here. And it's on the outside. It doesn't go all the way on the inside. I'm totally fine with that. I like it. I like all of the texture and dimension, and there's so much to look at. You want the idea to be that every little box is its own little world, and it just makes sense. You know, it just has something interesting in every spot, in every little room in this house, if you will. These are some remaining beads that I had left over from the sign that we did, the light up sign that we did. And then I'm going to take one of these plastic pumpkins and squish in the back so he'll be flat, and we can glue him right inside of there. Add your glue and pop him right in there. I'm going to take the charms off of that bracelet, and then I'm going to use them as ornaments on the tree. I used 3 of them as ornaments. Then I'm going to take the boo and put him right over here on the ghost. Do you see how we're mixing everything up here? We're mixing up our elements. We've got some resin, some paper, some metals. I'm going to take the tip of that tree, and it's going to be over here by our picture. I'm going to add some of these little bronze-looking butterflies that I found in my stash. And you can see the end of the black broom. I added some bronze to that, and it really looks like a different broom now. It's going to be just on the outside of the box, just kind of freestanding. I'm going to put a little glue on this little ghosty and put a butterfly on his hand. See, there's so much going on in here. This is so much fun. I love this, and I really hope that you try something like this because, oh my goodness, I had a blast. So I put the light bulb over there by the little skull topiary. I'm going to take that wooden butterfly off because to me it wasn't meshing. It didn't feel right. So I just removed it, but you can do whatever you like. I really wanted that metal in there. Put the Halloween sign right on the top. And I'm going to continue to add all over the place. Here's one of those cute ornaments. The little child has the pumpkin over its face. Here's a little witch girl. Put her up there by the witch stuff. And then this little witchy is going to go down here. Okay, I put some little stones from Dollar Tree in here. It's just a little rock. And I'm going to add some brown paint just on the inside of this bottle for the witch. And I'm going to add hot glue to this cork because I don't want that to leak out. I'm going to add another little butterfly here on the tombstone. It's just going to cover up that spider. I'll add the bottles in here and there where they make sense. And again, I'm not pushing everything to the back. Here's an idea. For the wool of that, I cut up a pom-pom. And I'm going to stick that all on the inside. You won't see it that much, but like I said, if you're curious, and this is our cabinet of curiosities, and you get up close and look, you can see all those little details. So I'm going to just glue this one right in this spot. Look at everything we have going on in here so far. How fun! How fun! Okay, so here's another one of those pumpkins. I'm going to squish it in the back. I've had a bag of these pumpkins forever, and I think I finally used them all. Maybe have one or two left, but they're so vintage looking to me and so cute. They fit nicely into these projects. Okay, I'm going to add him in there. And then look at this. This came off of a banner. But I've got so much mixed media in here. I love it. Then you see the little Halloween, the little girl over there. She's on a piece of foam board, and it just fits right inside out of the same pack. I'm going to go over it with that espresso, and then I'm going to paint that frame out with a little bit of that black chalk paint. I'm going to paint it out, and then I'm going to smear it with my finger a little bit to make it look old. And I'm decided to go in here and do the same thing. I'm going to take that white out by just covering it up with some black and a thin brush. Simple enough. All of this just helps give it a more of an aged look. Okay? Then whatever is left, I'm going to go back over. I'm just taking a broad look at everything that's going on in here, and I'm going to go over the stickers, the puffy stickers, everything with the same espresso. I'll add a spider down here, and of course we want to give him some highlights, so check out how he looks with that espresso on him. Nice. You could also use bronze. Now we have to have lights in this box, do we not? And rather than putting string lights in, I thought, how about little individual flickering candles? Yes. So you can cover up the flame of the candle here, the little plastic top, and spray paint it black. It would probably be better because I use chalk paint and it does chip off, but you know, you can always go back in and touch up. Let the candles set aside and dry. Then I'm going to go over with some of this black. This is like you use in gift bags or whatever. And I'm going to use it to just fill out some of those little hollows, just again for a little more interest. I'm going to add a bat. This is just one of those wall bats. It's just like a little plasticky piece. I'm going to elevate it on a black block, glue it down above the ghost, and then I'm going to tone it down a little bit with the black chalk paint. This is how this little beauty is going to look before we put lights in it, of course. Here are our lights, and I'm just going to add them here and there. I thought, how about putting one down in the pot where the witch is cooking? That might give it a little extra something, a little extra spook. So I put it in the top and put the bones back in. So for the first project, this is our overlook. I'm extremely pleased with the way this came out, and I hope that you are inspired from this. I hope that you look at this and you take the inspiration from it and that you make something like this of your own. Now, I'm calling it a cabinet of curiosities, even though there are no doors or whatever, but you know, you get the idea. You could certainly use the little things that have doors and stuff like that on them. A witch's cabinet. Maybe you've got some vintage pieces of your own. You can watch my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. It is free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments where we have a lot of fun. The next one is Ye Old Spell Book. So this is a piece that I got from Goodwill. It's a little bit sad, so we're going to give it a makeover. I'm going to use a glue stick. You're going to use a piece of leather, and this one came from Temu, but you can definitely get yours from Dollar Tree. We're going to choose pictures here. Again, this is from the same pack. It's just repeats of the same ones, pretty much in different sizes. Love these. I think we're going to use, maybe we'll use, yeah, we're going to use that one. I'm going to cut it out. And then I'm also going to cut it down where the there's no white trim at all on it. So I need to see how much of this we're going to use. What you're looking at here on the bottom is like a waxed paper backing, because this is a self stick, which makes it very convenient because you won't have to see the hot glue through your leather. You know what I mean? You know what I mean if you've had to glue leather onto anything. You'll get those little bumps and tracks underneath it, which is okay for a spooky book, I reckon. Now we're going to measure out how much we need to cover it. When I did this, I don't know what in the world I was thinking, but I ended up covering the top and both sides rather than leaving one side open to show the pages of the book. But no worries. Caught it and I fixed it. Okay? So I've trimmed it down. I'm going to sit it down on the sticky side, press it down, and then I'm going to put a little bit of tension as I roll it over so that it clings tightly to the book stack or the box, whatever you want to call it. It's actually a box that looks like 3 books. And I'll fold it all around, and then I'm going to push it down with my hands, and then you can burnish it with a wooden ruler if you don't have any type of a squeegee. You can really get a good grip on this though and make it nice and smooth and flat. Okay, so I'm going to go around and make sure I trim off anything that is extra on here because we don't need that. And you can see I covered up 2 sides, so yeah, I'll fix it, don't worry. Then I'm going to take an awl, and this just comes with like it came with a basket making toolkit. I have no idea what you would do with a basket, but it works really good as a leather tool in this predicament. Now I can see where the ridges are for the books, individual books, so I'm just going to push in there and kind of dig that little hole or that trench back out, dig that little track back out. And this is when I went, okay, dummy, that's not going to work. You can't see the pages. This is not a box, it's a book stack. So I just grabbed my sander and go back in, peel that off, cut it, made sure it was trimmed up nicely, and then I just took the wording off with a sander. And knock your dust off, get it nice and clean. Simple enough. You know, I make mistakes too, y'all. Don't get discouraged when you do stuff like that. You can fix it so easy. It's just crafting, right? It's just crafting. Now I'm going to use that same awl, and you can use a screwdriver for this if you want to, but I'm going to make scratches going side to side like you would have for paper. You can see all the little different lines. So I'm going to do this on both sides and on the side where you would see the pages of the books on the other side. This is important when you are adding paints to it or coloring or waxes to it because it kind of shows highlights and it shows the low places, which gives dimension. And that's what you want for realistic, you know, more realistic looking projects. So I'm going to do a little heavier towards what the binding would be, which is where the leather is, because I want it to, you know, see the dimension it gives there. I just like that. I just really, really like that. You can see it kind of fades or ombres out both sides. Yes. And then we're going to do that on here too. I'll use yeah, see, that's where I told you we're going to cut that off. I'm going to cut that off and put it aside. I'm going to grab some of that black paint and I'm going to like wipe almost all of it off. It's going to seem silly, but look how much is still left in the brush. See that? That's why we do it that way. I don't want to have too much in there. And this way, when I put it on, the part where I push the most, which is the corners, is going to be darker and it's going to fade out slightly toward the inside and the outside. And I like the look because it makes it look like it is aged. And that's the idea here. These are supposed to be vintage, aged, old-fashioned crafts. My representation of it anyway, my idea of it. I'm going to add it to the leather here. And you know, leather has texture. So where I wipe it off, the black is going to still cling down in the lower spots. I'm going to go back over it and do this several times until I get the coverage that I like. I'm going to try to keep that nice and flat so that the dark color stays in those little tracks there. You can see? You're just going to continue to build this up as you like it. And go all the way around and be sure that you're paying attention to all the sides. I'll take a very skinny pointed brush and go down the spaces in between each book. Yes, I just did air quotes, as if you could see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to go through these little tracks, like I said. You can go through and use your little wipe and make sure that if you have any that came off, that you just kind of wipe that out. You can use a damp cloth if you don't have a baby wipe. I just feel like this is so much easier for cleanup, and I'm not ruining any cloths this way. I can just toss it when I'm done. What is left on there, I'm going to put on the top. And then I'm going to dry it. And once it is dry, we're going to apply our glue stick. Yes, we are. Because the glue stick is what we're going to use to attach down our little picture. And be sure you get all your little bubbles and stuff out. These I found at Dollar Tree too, and they're really nice pieces. They look old to me, and I think this is going to give us a bit more of that vintage look. So because I didn't put these on first, I still want it to look like it is behind it. So I can achieve that look, I think, if I just cut the little triangles out from the inside, and I'll just put them back down on the plastic because we're going to use those later in another part of this book. So save those. We're going to stretch our dollar here. I'm just going to lay these down, each of these corners down where I think is a good placement for them before I glue them down. Now what you're seeing is me just kind of trimming to make sure that I have a nice crisp corner. And I think, yeah, I do like the way that this looks. So we're gonna go with this. And I'll have one for each corner, of course. At the bottom it says Lucky Halloween. A Halloween spell, Lucky Halloween. Okay, so then I'm just going to add a little hot glue in the corner for each one of these pieces to hold them in place. Then we're going to work on the sides. If you choose, you can use rub-ons, you can freehand, you can do what you want here. I'm not going to put labels on these books at all. I am just going to embellish these with some more of those beautiful pieces. I don't know why everybody assumes, so many people assume that witches are, I don't know, that maybe dark is a bad thing. It's dark is not a bad thing. You know, it's all about how you use your interpretation of things, I think. And I do not think that all witches are bad witches. No, I certainly do not. So this is just, I don't know, paying a little respect, I guess, for the people who have done good things in the past and then were accused of really bad things. It was a sad part of our history, folks. A very, very sad part of our history. Okay, now I've got all those on there. You can see how I used the corners. Didn't waste. We used the corners on there. And I'm just going to brush over this one with the antiquing wax once I have got them glued down because I know that I'm happy with their placement. I'm going to go over all of these pieces too with it. Just going to kind of bring that shine down just a little bit and age it. And then I'll go over the picture and the entire book with a light layer of wax. And this gives me the perfect age look that I'm going for. I hope you like this one. The next is our set of boo blocks. There's 3 of them. So I've got some black blocks here. But if you don't have any of these, you can use these from Dollar Tree and paint them black. Just little dice. These are the 3 ornaments that I chose to use for this project. I have some little wood blocks and some black chalk paint. I'm going to use some of my double stick. Well, this is not double stick. This is painter's tape. And I'm going to roll it over and put it down on my mat here, my little silicone mat, and I'm going to press these down to hold them in place while I paint them. I always have paint all over myself. Y'all know that. Always. Always. Doesn't bother me though. I just wash it off. Once everything is dry, yeah, I do leave one side that is not painted to put downward. I'm going to push these about 1/4 of an inch back from the edge of the block. So 1/4 inch back for each one of these. So center and 1/4 inch. Got it? Now we can start placing these down. For 2 of these, we're going to leave it just like this. Stand them up there. Allow them to dry. Here's the other one with the little cutie pie on it. This is probably my favorite one. And then for the one with the cat, we're going to turn it backwards so that it is placed further in the back. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so we'll put that one in the middle. All right. Now, I am going to use some of these little Scrabble blocks. But you can use anything. You can use stickers. You can paint this on. You can use puff paint, whatever you want to use here. But I'm going to use these because I think they look good with this. And spell out boo. And I'm trying to just sort of get them in the center. If they're not perfect, you know I don't care. All right, now this is why you wanted to do that. Now when you put them together, look, because I noticed it kind of late. All right, so here are the 3 projects that we just did. I wanted to give you something that you could use on your new tree that you made, and some things that you could sit around that will coordinate and look really nice with what you already have going on if you're doing the vintage Halloween look. I think these are really adorable together. They are vintage yet playful, and I just really, if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out, I would love it for you to subscribe, to like the video so I know to make more like it, and to share it with a friend, because if you're a true friend, you want them to have some joy in their day as well. We're going to start off with this little sign that I found. These are thrifted. But you can see the prices, maybe you can see where it comes from. There are 2 of these, and I'm going to use one on each project. I'm just going to start off with some black chalkboard paint and put that down and then go over all of that writing. I tried to erase that off of there and it won't come off, so it must have been permanent. Easy to fix. All right, so we're going to take this sign apart because we're going to use this one sign for 2 different projects. Just pull the ribbon off the back. If you pull carefully, it'll loosen up those staples. You can take those right out and throw them into the trash. Save your ribbon, we'll use it again. And then you can save your little pumpkin. We're going to use this yard pick. And it is a black cat with a witch hat, love it. And just going to turn it over and then press down and pull the stake off. You can save the stake because you can use it on other projects, and we will be doing that in another video. This is a thrifted headband that I found. Looks like a little girl's headband, and it very easily will pull right off the backing. And I love these. This little floret shape, or whatever you want to call it, pinwheel, is perfect for vintage DIYs. And I like the colors. Cute. All right, so for the first project, we're going to use the oval sign. And I'm gonna just see how I want this to look. I've moved these around a little bit. I'm sparing you because the video can be quite long if I show you all of it. But you can kind of play around with it and see how you would like for your layout to be. Since the center of this sign is depressed, I'm going to use these little tower blocks, tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. I use them on a lot of projects for the same thing, just as like little risers or spacers. I'm going to put it on the back and use it to hold it up off of the sign. I love using signs that have some depth in them because it gives a lot of shadows, it gives a lot of dimension, it gives interest, and it also allows you the space to add in lights if you choose to do that, or add picks or anything else that you want to use. So before I glue them down to the backing, I just want to go ahead and get these little pieces on here, their supports if you will, so that I can place them down. And I do like the way that this looks, and this is going to fit nicely. So in order to mark my space where I don't forget where I'm gluing, where I need to put the glue, I'm just going to use some more of these blocks, and I'm going to go right in between with my glue. Now if you have a flat oval sign, which you can get similar to that, you know, at Dollar Tree, if you have something flat, you don't have to worry about using the Jenga blocks to raise anything up unless you just want to, and that would give you some dimension there as well. Then you can add everything in how you like it. I just kind of making sure that the top and bottom sign have about the same amount of space, but you could use your blocks there too as little spacers. And then the same thing with the cat. I don't want a bunch of extra glue all over the place, because sometimes when you peel the glue off of a painted surface, it'll take your paint off. So I don't want that to happen. And so doing it this way is going to help me a little kind of gauge where I need the glue and where I most definitely do not need the glue. Now this little cat is going to overlap slightly onto the spooky sign, which I do not mind. I like it. We're going to go with it. It's all layered and pretty. And then on the top where the hole is, I'm just going to add one of these little pinwheels or rosettes, whatever you want to call them, right to the top. It has a little rhinestone in the middle. So over here on this spider, I'm going to use a white paint pen and cover up all of the legs. You could cover your entire spider if you wanted to. And I'm going to put down a spider ring that came from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut the ring part off. You can see it over there to the right. And it will be perfectly ready. I love it. Isn't that so much better? Again, that's going to give it some more interest, some more dimension, and the sparkle from the little orange stone is kind of carried over from the sparkle and the rhinestone. Yes, you could stop right here if you would like, but I'm going to add a little extra something to my sign, so I'm going to show you how you can add some extra. I'm just using some scrap ribbons that I have. Some are wired, some are not. And I am going to make a little bow to go on the top. And so I've decided that yes, this is going to be the right length. That's kind of what I was doing, trying to decide about the lengths. You can dovetail your ends on your ribbons. And then the thinner ribbons I usually just cut at a slant, and you'll see that here. I'm just going at a slant to put those down. I'm going to add this piece, which I just cut in half because it was a little bit bigger than the other ones, and dovetail that. Use any colors that you like. They can match or clash or complement or whatever you like. Just do what you like. Remember, the floppy bows need to go on top, or the floppy pieces need to go on top, so that there's some structure from below, which are the pieces that have the wire. That makes sense, kind of holds it up. And then we're going to use that same piece of black ribbon we already had that we took off of our sign, and we're just going to tie these right in the middle. A couple of knots right in the center, and you can take your time with this. You don't have to get in a hurry. When they flip over, don't worry, you can push them right back down like I do. A couple of double knots, triple knot, whatever you're comfortable with, and then you can cut it a little long so that that black piece will be now part of your bow. I love these types of bows in fall and Halloween decor. I just think that they're really pretty and they're festive. Okay, so you could put this on the side of the cat, or you could put it in the center and just kind of tuck it around your sign pieces. And that's what I decided to do. You can use a clamp to hold it in place while you move on to another part of your project. You know, you want to be efficient with your crafting so you can get it all done. We all don't have a lot of time to craft all day, do we? this is my job, and that's why I can sit here and do it. But for those of you who have jobs outside of your home, or you have children, or you're taking care of your elderly parents, or you have, you know, disabilities of any type, you need to kind of get it done a little bit quicker, a little more efficiently. So you can see here what I've done. I'm just trying to kind of make this almost look like a little feather or embellishment on the side. We're just using like the tails. We're not actually putting a bow here. I've just made a V in the center and then overlapped it and glued it down to itself. You can see on this little orange ribbon. And I'm going to put it down just like this. I love the little pizzazz it gives. And then I thought, hey, let's just go ahead and use a little scrap and cut this in like a V. So I have a V in this little piece, and I'm going to put it right on top. And that looks really cute. I like that. It's a different kind of layered look, but it's cute. Then you can fluff around. You can tuck your bow ends under, you can curl them over, you can wrap, you know, kind of bend them around your fingers so they have a little bit of a curl in it. And at this point, it's a good time to trim up anything that you see that you would like to be trimmed. My little ribbon was fraying just a little bit, so I just went ahead and trimmed it up, make it look nice and neat. And then those other pieces, you can trim those down. It's best to start off with the same length, and then you can just change it up. You can trim it, but you can't add it back, can you? Very nice. That's our first project. The next project is going to be a witch sign. So we're going to take this other one and paint it, of course. And then we're going to take a variety of ribbons and some rickrack. One of these is a sticker, but I'm going to use it as a ribbon. I'm going to measure around the outside of that little border. Cut it so it's easier to work with. And then I'm going to prop it up. I have it leaning on a ribbon spool, and the candles in front of it are kind of holding it in place where it doesn't scoot around. This gets it up where I can see it a little bit better and where you can see it a little better. It's closer to the camera. So I'm just going to add a little dot of glue, and you might want to use your cool temperature here because you're going to be touching this a lot, or protect your fingers, whichever way you want to do it. And I'm going to add just little dots of glue here and there, or little very thin lines. I was having some issues with my other glue gun, and then I ran out of glue sticks. So I'm using a bigger gun right now, and I'm trying to get used to the flow. Then you're just going to tap it down. It doesn't take a lot to hold this little rickrack on there, but doesn't it make a pretty little detail? And then we're going to go around the corners. Once you get it all the way around, just kind of go around the corner. That's another lovely part of having a trim like that. It just easily folds over. Clean up your glue if you get any on there, and then continue all the way back over until you get to that corner. You can see I'm trying to be very light with that glue, but if any of it does come off, you can just pick it off once it's cool. Trim your corner down, get it nice and neat. Then I decided to take the black and go over the edges of the sign, right where it's kind of looking where the gray and orange kind of blend together. I decided to overlap it there. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to go kind of over and off the edge. Makes it look a little bit bigger than it actually is. We're going to do the same thing to the bottom. Very easy, just a little bit of glue, just like the orange one that we did. And then we can trim off where we need to trim off. And it's so much easier to do. If you just turn it over on the back and just follow the curves that are there, it makes it so much easier. And then we're going to do the sides last. It will overlap and make it look finished. You can use an orange paint pen or marker or whatever you want. If you have any little areas that aren't covered, you can just go ahead and cover up that gray with your orange. On the top too, I'm just trying to fill in those little spots to make it kind of blend together a little bit better. Then we're going to go back to those same little tower blocks, and I'm going to use 6 of these. It doesn't take this much to hold it up, but we're going to use this for supports for lights. So that's why I'm doing it this way. I'm going to go down, leave a little space, and now it is higher than the surrounding place, and it gives us a nice little area for lights. With that said, you're going to take a crafting knife and you need to drill a little hole, or you can use a screw, or you can use whatever you drill holes with. You can use a drill, but in case you don't have a drill, you can use a knife. Feed your lights up through here. These, I am pretty sure I got these from Dollar Tree. Pull it all the way through. Then you can take some mounting tape, and mine did come from Dollar Tree. This is very good sticky stuff. Put it on the battery pack, and then you can just stick it down. It can be upside down, it can be the right side up, whichever way you want to do it. Then we're going to go ahead and glue this down on top of the other sign. You don't want to glue down your lights there, so just make sure you're not sitting it down on the lights. That's what I'm doing, making sure that it's between my little supports here. And then you're just going to run those lights. Once the glue is dry, you're going to run the lights around the outside. You don't have to do this tightly, but just tight enough that it, you know, the light strand is kind of hidden behind your sign there. And you can use some more of that mounting tape. I was down to the last little bit. I had a little tiny piece left to stick on the end of those lights, and then just stick those down to the surface underneath, or to the top of the sign. I'm really not sure where it stuck down, but it stayed there. And then when you turn it on, it's going to look like this. It is not a super bright sign. It is not intended to be, but this is what it looks like when the lights are slightly dimmed. And if you like your sign like this, you can leave it just like this. Or you could embellish it with that little pumpkin. You could spray paint it, you can paint it, you can decoupage it, you can put it anywhere you want to on your sign if you would like. Can see any way that you want to do it, or you can do something a little extra special. This is a bonus. Look at this little skeleton. It came from Dollar Tree. These are a collection of cupcake cups that I've had forever in my pantry. A little bit of lace trim, a variety of ribbons, lots of hot glue. We're going to make some clothes, so check this out. You're going to run your fingers around the edge of your cupcake paper. Just get 3 ones that you like that coordinate, and then fold it over, and then you're going to cut just a little notch out, just a little one now, because it just needs to be big enough to slide over this little witch. It's going to go just like we're getting her dressed in the morning. She has no zippers, so we're going to make sure that it will go above that pelvis and go right up there. All right, so now we know that's how we want the skirt to be. I'm going to go around and do the same thing with the beautiful candy corn. Flatten it all out, fold it over, cut just a little notch out right there. So there's another layer of her skirt, and then we're going to take the orange and we're going to do the same thing. You don't have to completely press out the little ridges there. You don't have to completely press those out, because that'll give some interest in the skirt. Then you're going to trim just a little off, because we want each of these layers to be kind of stacked. So we'll have the black on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to trim this one down too. We want to make sure that each layer is a little bit longer than the other one, or each layer is a little bit shorter than the other one, because when you stack it, you want to be able to see each color. So the black is the biggest, and then the orange, and then the candy corn. So see there? That's how it's going to line up. A tiny bit of glue here just to hold our pieces together to make it easier when we put this back on our little skeleton. Just a few little dots. And then press that down together. All right, now she needs a little hat. So we're going to make a hat now. I'm going to use the black for this. I'm going to press it out, fold it again, just like we did before, but this time we're not going to cut anything. And once we get it into that position, we're going to fold it over once more. and it's going to look almost like a little dunce cap. Isn't that cute? Use a little hot glue to glue your edges down. Just make sure that it's going to fit on her. Then I'm going to cut one of the scraps and make a little band for the hat. So I'm cutting that off. I'm going to go right around here with a little bit of hot glue. And now her little hat is going to match her skirt. And y'all don't worry, she won't be topless. We're going to give her a top too. Okay, her hat is perfect. You could put a little, any other type of embellishment on there that you wanted to. And we're going to put her skirt back on. You see her arms are very rigid. They don't bend. She doesn't have working elbows. So close your eyes if you don't want to see this. We're doing an amputation. But don't worry, we'll give her arms back. She'll get them back. I'll tell you when you can look. Don't look yet. Don't look. Oh, okay, good. All right, we're good. We're good. She's not in any pain. She's still smiling. Okay, so we are going to take that skirt, now that we can get to it better, and just fold it over as wide as you want the skirt to be. You can leave it completely in a full sweeping circle there, or you can give it a dart in the back and make it just a little bit smaller. And that's what I decided to do. Just going to put some hot glue right in there. I'm not concerned that it doesn't line up in the back because you can trim that off, and she's going to be sitting on the skirt, so no worries. She needs a petticoat or a slip. So let's trim this down just big enough that we can glue a piece right on her pelvis. And that is going to give her a nice little cover and a little cute little unexpected detail. I had way too much fun making this cute little girl. All right, now I'm going to add some of that. It's like a velvet type of trim. I got it at the thrift store, but I know that you can get something similar like in a satin at Dollar Tree. Or I have seen it in my stores anyway. There's her cute little hat. Here's her cute little skirt. And then I'm trying to find front and back here. We can put her arms back on. You just have to hold it for just a minute once you put the hot glue down. In any position that you like, you could have her waving if you wanted to. But I want her to be very prim and proper and just have her hands sitting on her skirt in front of her. Now we're going to make her a cute little halter top. Trim off a piece. We're going to tuck it up underneath her arms. This was easy to do. This was not hard, although you see me fidgeting here. And then you can just trim it off and glue it in the back. So it makes just like a little, little top around her. And then we're going to make a halter by just gluing one end down on the left side. Going to take it around her neck and then glue it on the right side. And then you can just trim it up so they're both even and she looks nice and neat. Okay, now we can take our little hat and put it on. Just takes a little hot glue on the front top part of her head since the hat is leaning backwards. That way it can grip onto the paper there, the cupcake paper. So cute. Okay, don't look. I'm trimming the dress and then we're going to be taking her legs off in a minute. Okay, don't look, don't look. I'll tell you when to look. Okay. Bones don't have nerves anyway, so she didn't feel any of that. Okay, now you can look. So now we're going to put her back on the sign and decide how we want her to sit here. She is so precious. I love her. I think I want her to sit right at the top. And I'll put her in the top middle. I'm making sure that I have her positioned correctly, and I'm going to glue her legs down to the skirt. This is going to also glue her sort of into a sitting position. And conveniently, that sign that I use has like a lip on it, so she'll sit nicely right up there. But if you have a flat sign, just use one of those tower blocks, glue it to the top, and sit her right on top of that. I'm going to hold her down for a minute to make sure she stays in place, and let's give her her legs back. Now I'm going to glue these where it looks like she is sitting with her ankles crossed. Again, prim and proper, sweet little girl. After the glue is dry, go on to the next leg, and then when you put it on at an angle as well so that her ankles are crossed. And you can use a dot of glue between the ankles if you want to. Oh, she's so cute. Y'all, she's cute. I love her. I love her so much. Then she needs to hold something. So you can give her a pumpkin, or you can give her a little figurine, like a little black cat, which is super cute too. But because this is kind of a vintagey inspired video, I thought maybe we would do something with a little more pizzazz. So I'm just going to put this little sparkly pom-pom. I'm going to use one of these cupcake picks and just cut it off. And that came from Dollar Tree. And then also a bat, and we're going to make her a little scepter or a wand with the bat. So I'm going to use my acrylic marker here and just cover that in orange. Going to add some hot glue and let her hold on to that. So is she a witch? Is she a trick-or-treater? Is she a clown? Is she just a skeleton? I think she is a trick-or-treating skeleton, and she is precious. Look at her. I love it. I hope y'all love her as much as I do, and I hope you'll try it. It's really not hard. Here are our beautiful projects. This is our cat sign. It's the most spooky time of the year. Love my cat sign. I do have 2 more picks, a skeleton and a pumpkin, so they're going to be in some projects coming up soon. I appreciate y'all so much for coming by and for watching my videos. The videos for Halloween have been very popular, and I am so happy that you're enjoying them. It means a lot to me that you follow me through the slower times of the year and through the festive times of the year. I have so much fun with y'all. Big welcome to all my new subscribers, and I love you to all of you who have been here from the beginning. You mean so much. The first project will be a light box. What better way to welcome your trick-or-treaters? All right, we're going to start off with one of my purple glue sticks. I've got some string lights. Mine came from Temu, but you can get yours from anywhere. This is a little banner sign, also from Temu. This is a frame that I am recycling. I used this when I very first started my channel. I did a little shadow box with this. So you're just going to need a frame that is going to be big enough for the picture that you have and is going to fit over the top of the box you're going to use. So we're going to make sort of like a shadow box here. I'll just be using this glue stick to put this down on the inside of this box. If you use hot glue, that's fine, but I would stick to the corners rather than going all the way over the picture so you don't get a bunch of lumps and bumps when your light shines on it. It'll be nice and smooth. I'm just going to press it down with my hand a little bit, and then I'll turn it to make sure that I've kind of got it centered. And then see the beauty of a glue stick, you can still move it a little bit till you get your right position. And then I'll just press it with my hands, and then I'll grab a little tool and put this all down. You can use a credit card, your driver's license, any flat edge that is narrow. You can use that to kind of squeegee down your project. All right, see? Stuck nicely. Now I'm just going to undo this here. These are little LED lights, and they have 3 different modes. This is not a sponsored video. But I really like these, and I got them in a pack of, I think, 12. So they work great for these kind of projects. All right, so I'm going to use some mounting tape. You can use regular tape on the top if you would like, but this seems to do the trick for me. It's sort of like a gel, it's kind of squishy, and you can press the wire straight down into it, which makes it great for this type of project, in my humble opinion. I'm going to do a little bit of tape on each of the corners on the frame. If you don't want to put them on the back of the frame, you could always put them on the box, but for me, I don't want it to show up at all. I don't want to see it at all from any angle, and if I put it on the frame itself, you're not going to see any of that lighting hardware. Well, you might see the little control box. You might see that, but you got to look hard for it. Okay, so now a little tip for you. For me, I get back around to the same, and then you end up, it seems like the lights overlap, and you get them in the same pattern. So what you can do is bend your wire a little bit, like I did over here in the corner. Bend it, and then that'll change the position of the lights that you put down. So I'm going to go all the way around, and you'll see when I turn the lights on what I mean. Instead of a bunch of like 3 lights stacked on top of each other, I want it to be more of an even kind of distribution of the lighting. And this helps a little. It's still not perfect, but it does help a little bit. So you can see where the little bubbles are in the line. That's where the lights are. Do this any way you would like, though. You certainly don't have to do it this way. Now I'll use some of the same mounting tape. I'm just going to kind of double it up, put it on the back. And y'all, another tip. Check your lights before you do all the work of putting them in place, because if you don't and the lights don't work, then you are out of luck. Do you see what I mean there? Now I have a little more of an even distribution of the lights. I'm going to use just little Velcro dots. You know, they have a soft side and a prickly side. So I'm going to put the soft side down on the corners of this wooden box. And y'all just keep in mind, my videos are for inspiration. Think about how you can do it. If you want to use a different size, you can. Go to Dollar Tree and get a Halloween card. They have beautiful Halloween cards, right? Get a card. Use a card for this instead. It would certainly work. Get your frame there, get your box there, paint it, however you want to do it. All right, so I've put the backs on there too, and now I'm just going to squeeze them and press them, and now I can still open the top, and if I wanted to change some things out, I could. Yay! Pretty simple, right? So if the lights are out, this is how it's going to look. I think it's cute. So you can see the box a little bit down there, but you could always paint it black. But I'm going to cover it up. I know exactly what I'm going to do here. So we got our skeleton, our witch, our ghost, and our cat, right? Our classics. I'm going to put a little bit of fog in there. I'm going to sort of make this look like a little fog. And it's on the underside. It's going to tuck right in above the lights and cover up that light box. Love it when a project comes together. How simple is that? Anybody can do this project. You can probably use some things you already have around your house to do this and save yourself a lot of money. But it's so cute. And it would be adorable at a Halloween party. You can see all the little spooks in there and their little costumes. Now, you see the different lighting effects. And y'all, if you're sensitive to strobe lights, you might not want to watch this video because I will have them on. The next is going to be a costume sign. This one's another easy one, y'all. So I've got some ribbon, my chippy brush, my antique wax, another one of those banner signs, but you can certainly use a card. This is a recycled piece of, it's like MDF, or it's actually board, but it's more like a piece of paneling. Here are my measurements. You can use something from Dollar Tree. They have these little things. These are little wool, I guess, wool balls. I got these at Dirt Cheap a couple of years ago. Here's that wax. And you can see that the card already looks a little bit old. It's got kind of some shading and aging around the edges. Everything sticks on this double stick tape, y'all. This is just Jot double stick tape. I'm going to use this to attach this down to a backing, and then we're going to attach it down to this board. This is just going to be like a little leaner sign, and I'm going to put a hanger on it in case anybody wants to hang theirs up on their door. I think it's cute, it's not scary, and it's classic, just like the little ghost. All right, so I'm going to use this. This is just some black leftover paper that I had. You can use any type of cardstock that you like. Or you can use wallpaper. You know, think about how you can use some things you already have. Now I'm going to use this to offset the card or the banner piece. I'm just going to trace it. You can see the pencil shows up nicely on the black, and I am going to carefully cut that out to try to keep my line as straight as possible. I really need to get one of those boards that you use when you do scrapbooking, so you get a nice clean cut and it's so quick. I have a small one, but not anything big enough for this. Same process here with the tape, and then I am going to tape it down. You could also use tacks to do this. You could also use a dot of hot glue in the corners if you would rather do it that way. But you see how nice that looks with the black behind it? You could certainly skip this step and make it your own. Now the point of this ruler, this wood ruler, is just to use it to quickly get it locked in place there. I will cut off a little piece of that ribbon, put her aside, and then I'm going to use my antiquing wax, and I'm going to go over this board with antiquing wax. Now, in a previous life, this board was an Easter project, and it had a pocket on it with flowers in it, and it was really cute. But you know, I'm over that, and I'm ready to move on. So I can use this again and save myself a lot of money. No privilege here, not living off of all of my husband's money. You know, I work hard for my money, y'all, and I like to pinch my pennies. This is some of the things that I do, these tips that I give you. These are things that I actually do too. They're not things that I tell you just to kind of, you know, make you happy or make your life easier or that I'm guessing at. These are things that I actually do too. And I know that they work. All right, enough of that. I'm going around the edges here. Just going around the edges with that brush to give it an aged look and a little edge to it. And then for some reason it wouldn't stick with the brush on the edges, so I've just got a little square piece of foam here, and I'm going to use that to go over all of my edges and then to go over that hole that's up there in the middle. Using what's left in the brush, I didn't add anything extra. I'm using a very feathery light hand over the card to just darken it up just a little bit. I don't want any bright whites, and I do want this to look like it's been around a while. The figures are so cute. Look at those little classic pieces. All right, this part is optional. If you don't like bows, you don't have to do this. I am going to put a ribbon band around this section. You could use leftover cardstock, you could use some decorative paper, you can use raffia, you can use whatever you want if you don't like the ribbon. But I really like this ribbon, and I've had it a while, and I think it's some handmade ribbon. It has had some weird seams in it, like maybe somebody had made it themselves. Now I'm going to dirty this up, and I'm going to dirty up the rest of the ribbon that I have that I'm going to use to make the bow, but I don't show that. I thought it was more of a cream color, but next to this card, it looks a little more white, and I don't want that. I want it to continue to look like it's old. So we'll do the same process with my long piece of ribbon, and this is roughly a little over 2 feet of ribbon if I had to guess, but I'm going to cut it down so you won't even need that much. I'm not measuring anything here, and this is the simplest bow that I can show you how to make. Simple, simple. If you need to see it again, pause the video, back it up, and check it out again, because this is an easy bow to make, y'all. I'm just going to use some jute. You can use scrap ribbon, you can use floral wire, you can use a zip tie, whatever you want to use. I'm going to tie it off tightly, and it needs to be, you know, pretty tight because we're going to have to fluff our bow out, right? There is no wire in this ribbon. It's just a floppy bow, but because it has that stitching on the edges, it does make it a little bit easier to maneuver and keep in place. Gives it a little stoutness, if you will. Okay, so I decided we're going to put this bow right on the top of this hole. I was going to do it on the little side of the ribbon there, but I decided, no, we're going to do it over the top and make a hanger. That way you have some versatility. If you want to use this as a leaner, you can. If you want to use this as a hanging sign for your door, perhaps, you could certainly do that too. I think it would be a cute little idea if you wanted to use some type of project like this to put on your door. If you're having trick-or-treaters, if you're having a little party, if the neighborhood kids are coming by to get you candy. And then I'm going to trim off the excess. That'll keep things from sliding around. I'm forever fluffing bows. Y'all know me. You know me by now. But it really makes a difference, right? Alright, so I'm going to go to the bottom of where that ribbon is that I have across, and then I'm going to dovetail both of these. You can leave yours long, you can cut it shorter, and again, you can leave the bow off altogether if you would like. But I think it's precious. Just to keep those tails from flopping down over my picture, I'm going to use the tiniest dot of glue to hold the tails in place. I'm going to add 2 of these little orange ones, sort of a orangey yellow, and the other one just a classic orange for a little extra color at the top. Simple, simple. I know somebody out there is going to be redoing this one, right? All right, the Little Witch party lights. All right, foam block, y'all. Foam block. I'm going to use scraps that I have from fall and from Halloween. Flowers and leaves and greenery. I have frames. You can use either or. I chose the 5x7. These came from Dollar Tree. These I got at Dirt Cheap. And another one of those little banner cards. This is one of those 3-ring packs from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using the medium and the large ring. You're going to take the glass and the backing and the paper out and put a piece of cardboard in there. We need a firm base, and I don't want to worry about glass breaking. We'll cut this in half because I don't need it to be very tall. This is a pool noodle knife. It works good with any foam that I'm using. I like it. See, when you cut it, sometimes it'll cut kind of crooked. Just go ahead and shave that off. We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for function. So I'm going to shave it down just a little bit with the knife and then show you that if you rub these two together, you can kind of sand it with the other block. Isn't that nice? So I'll use E6000 in a couple of little areas here to hold this in place. And it is not centered, but you'll see what I do. I'm actually going to slide everything over once I get it, when I get foam ready to go on. I'm just playing around now. It looks like a rib cage on it. Look at that. Look at that. And then I'll add a couple little dots here. I don't want to use a lot of hot glue. See how I slid the block over so that it's somewhat in the center. I'm going to put a weight on top to let that E6000 sort of set up, and definitely for the glue to grab. I don't normally recommend that you use hot glue with foam, but I used a very small amount just to hold it. All right, now I'm going to use my biggest frame in the back. And I've never done this before, so this is a learning thing here. And instead of pressing too hard because I was slightly bending the bottom, I decided to grab my metal ruler, which came from Dollar Tree. You see how I flattened it out a little bit? I mean, that will work to my advantage when we're gluing it down, but you know. I'm going to use some of the same thick cardboard that I used to put in the frame as the base. I'm going to cut it into little pieces and just help kind of put some hot glue and shove this underneath to give this frame a little bit more support. Because it's round, it's a round piece of metal, and it's really, it can be a booger to get this to work. Y'all, I was on the Temu app, and I saw that they actually have these types of frames, well, not frames, like a wreath form thing. They have these individually, different sizes, and it comes with a base that you can stand it up on. Can you believe it? And I did all this work before I saw that. Anyway, we'll do the same thing to both sides, add a little more hot glue. I'm going to use floral pins at an angle to push down. It's sort of going to straddle the wreath form. And by all means, if y'all know an easier way to do this, do it your way. Do it the easy way. I'm just showing you how things were coming together as I was doing it. So the biggest ring is going to be in the top third. I'm going to cut it into another section, and this is where we're going to put the medium ring. It'll slip in that notch, and it pretty much wants to stay by itself, so that is fantastic. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I'm going to go ahead and seal this one back off a tiny bit, y'all, a tiny bit, and then hold it so it will dry. And then I did that here too. Don't worry about the little holes. The heat's going to melt it, so you won't see that though. We're going to cover it up. No worries about that. A little bit of paper on there so I don't burn myself, and it also kind of locks it in so that nothing scoots around. We'll put it aside with a weight and let that dry. And then we're going to cover the base. Now, if you want to use like a Spanish moss, you can do that. If you want to use some type of a felt, you can do that. But I really like the idea of just using my extra pieces of Halloween stuff. So I thought, okay, well, creepy cloth. This is actually a dark gray. It's not a black. I know it's showing black, but it works good for this. It's easily kind of manipulated, so I can move it around. I can make it thicker in some sections. I can bend it and squeeze it into smaller areas and sections around the corners. It just works. So I'll use the hot glue, and I'm also going to use my little rubber spatula thing over there to kind of push it down, because with this creepy cloth there's a lot, it's an open weave, so you can easily burn yourself. You got to be super careful about this. Put your finger protectors on, use your little rubber spatula, whatever you have to do to protect yourself. So I'm just going to press it down and wrap it around. My camera goes out of focus when it is trying to focus what's closer to the lens, so that's why it keeps going out of focus. All right, so I'm going to continue around, and when I feel like I have it covered as much as I want it covered, enough coverage, then I'll just go ahead and trim it off, and we're going to use the extra for something else. And I'll just go right between the rings here. And this is just another way to kind of cover up all of the pieces that we use to help hold it down onto the frame. I like that this frame has that port look, and it has little flecks of gold and red and green, and it just looks to me like it would go with that, with the season, you know, that it would just go there. Okay, now that's all the way I want it, perfectly where I want it. Got our lights, gonna pull my tab out. Of course, make sure that your lights work, but you're gonna see that my lights work when I glue it down. You can use the mounting tape again, but I'm just gonna use a little hot glue because you can do that. Just use it sparingly. You don't wanna use a ton, you know, you don't wanna do that. So I'm just gonna put it down. And then you can just, because we didn't glue all those layers down, you can just overlap it. This is not something that I would sell. Personally, this is something I would keep in my own home because, you know, this was an experiment for me. But I'm very pleased with the way it turned out, and I hope that y'all are too. So I'm going to start around with my wire. I'm going to go round and round and round, trying to keep the loops of it even as I go around this bigger loop in the back. And then I'll also try to do the same thing when I cross over and do the smaller one in the front. Excuse my freckled arm. See, now it's all the way around. We're down to the next one. I'm going to leave a little space because we're going to use that to attach it to the foam block underneath. And I'll start wrapping it around this one. And y'all, this one string of lights, I don't know how long the string is because I've had these lights for a little while, but it wrapped around both of them, and then I was able to back it halfway back up the smaller ring. So plenty of lights for that. If you're using Dollar Tree lights, you're probably going to need a few packs. I'm using my floral pins, same as before, just to hold things in place. Two things it's going to do is hold my wire in place. It's also going to hold, give a little more structure and hold that creepy cloth in place. So you can see how now that it's a dark gray, not a black. You can see it. Okay, so now I'm just going to lay this over the top. I want to sort of, in my mind, this was like a night sky, right? It's a night sky because the little witch is on the moon. Now I want to give this a little more support. So this is just some extra cardboard that I'm trimming down to fit. I'm using very thin lines of glue to hold this in place rather than using the glue stick because I need this to be in shape quickly. And then I'll make sure that if there are any lines that I'm pressing them out before the glue sets up. I'm going to use a little bit of this orange jute. Use whatever color you have. I just thought that the orange would be good because it's going to match a little bit better to the background in this picture. Happiest of Halloween wishes. And she's a little witch and she looks like she's having a sweet nap and some sweet dreams on the moon. So I'm taking advantage of the holes that were already there from the banner, and I'm just going to tie it around the smaller loop in the middle, and then I'll make some very simple little shoestring ties. Just, that's all we're doing, just little shoestring ties. I didn't want to glue it to this metal form because it would probably pop off because it's metal, and I'm going to trim this off. Plus I think the bows give it that little cuteness for the classic Halloween look. Y'all, this is my next to the last Halloween video. It is drawing to an end. I will be doing a collaboration on the 13th, and that will be my last one. So I hope that y'all be able to watch that collaboration with me and some other friends that invited me to join. We're also going to get a little history lesson on Halloween from Mrs. Indiana Jones. Indiana. I say Indiana all the time. Can you tell that I was a fan of the movie? Indiana. My friend Indiana. Yes. Okay, now don't worry about that hanging off over there. It'll be fixed. Okay? This is all part of my working on it, my figuring it out. Because like I said, I've never done this before. And I want you to see what it looks like when you're trying to put a project together. It's definitely, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I secure this? I made my own pins in case you don't have floral pins, just out of some floral wire that's a little bit thicker. You can do that, and you can get those pieces of wire at Dollar Tree. Now I will start my arranging. Good thing about this creepy cloth is that because it has such open weave, you can still poke your flowers and everything through it to make an arrangement on your foam block. If you covered this completely in felt, you would have a very hard time getting this through. But you can use an awl, or some type of a punch to make the hole for you if you need to do that. Or even a screwdriver. You could use a screwdriver to do that. But this worked out nice, so I do recommend the creepy cloth for something like this. Now I'm just arranging, and I know you can't see every bit of what I'm doing, but I will be showing you between, as I build it up, I will be showing you little looks of what we're doing. Y'all, if y'all are coming by from another channel, if somebody has recommended my videos to you, if you are here for the first time, if I showed up in recommendations, whatever it is that brought you over to my channel today, I want to welcome you here. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos and get some inspiration. I enjoy doing things on a budget. Yes, I do. I like to show you how to do things on a budget, and I like to encourage you along the way to make it your own, to do things exactly how it brings you joy. Whatever you like. Don't look for accolades from someone else. If it's something that you've made and you love it, then it's perfect. If it's bringing you that joy, then you're doing exactly what your soul needs. And I want to see you, I want to hear you smile in your comment, you know, and I can almost tell when I get comments, the attitude behind it. So I appreciate that. Y'all bring so much positivity here. So the new people are welcomed, and the people who have been following me, I am so very blessed to have you in my life. I thank you so very much, and I hope that you are enjoying this channel, because I am enjoying you very much. All right, look, y'all, can't you see this in the middle of a snack table for trick-or-treaters? You could even put something in a huge bowl and stack it up on top like a candle holder or a bucket upside down. Set this on there and put all your candy around in the bottom. What kid wouldn't love this? And hey, I'm not a kid. I'm kind of well, maybe I'm an older kid. I'm definitely a kid at heart. But I love candy, and I love lights at Halloween. Oh my goodness, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to get to know you better in the comments. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And give me a thumbs up so I know I'm doing a good job and I can keep bringing you the type of videos that you like to see. These are 3 projects that we did. Perfect for the entire Halloween season, but if you love classics, and if you love Halloween parties and trick-or-treaters and you really like to make it festive and welcoming, consider these. They don't take a lot of time to do. Third one takes a little bit longer, but not too bad. Nothing was painted, so you didn't have to wait for dry time or anything. So I'm just showing you here how it's going to look with different lighting. I showed you with the full lights. Now we've dimmed the lights. I'm showing you how these look. Use your candles to give you some lighting around those pieces. Candles are great when you're decorating. So cute. And here they are when they are flashing. Thank y'all so very much for stopping by, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.